Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of Roettgen Braai. Today we are starting off with the first of the Holy Trilogy of US-style BBQ, which will be a pulled pork from a pork neck. And what we need for it and how it's being done, I will show you in this episode. Enjoy! Alright guys, and that's all we need. Of course we need two pork necks. They both have roughly 2 kgs and they have some nice marbling on there. Then we will need some sunflower oil as a binding agent. We're going to rub it on the pulled pork or on the pork necks and then add the rub to it. And then also I'm going to make a mixture of apple cider vinegar and apple juice, roughly half and half, and we're going to inject the pork necks with it to give it some extra moisture. And I really like the apple cider vinegar because it breaks down the collagen. First step though is we will take the knife and we're going to check that there's no additional pieces of bone or any fragments or anything that would be unsavory to eat on the pork necks. Then we're going to spritz them. We're going to rub them and we're going to put them back in a Ziploc bag or in a vacuum bag and leave them overnight in the fridge so that the spritz as well as the rub can really settle and give great flavor to the meat. All right, on to the next step. After marinating the meat, I'm now going to apply some sunflower oil on all sides and put on the rub. And as you don't need much because the meat is already moist, but I still like to have some binding agent on it, I'm just going to use it on my hand and then just rub it over the meat on all sides, and that should do it, and then the rub can really nicely stick on. And for that I truly recommend a form like this because the injections can run off. Anything that's too much will go into the center and not all over your cutting board. Alright, and then we're going to use Ankerkraut today. Pull that piggy. I love that rub. I think it's fantastic. It really brings out great flavors in the meat, and you can quite liberally spread it, and I'm going to use the big opening now. And then all you need to do is, in essence, you dab it on, make sure that everything is covered nicely, and then, as I said, it goes back in the fridge in a vacuum bag for about 12 to 24 hours, and then we're going to put it on my Kamado. Alright, I'm going to finish rubbing these, and then I'll see you in 24 hours. Good morning everybody. I just wanted to show you quick how I do the setup in my Kamado. I really like to use those big chunky steakhouse charcoal bits. They burn fantastic when it comes to low and slow jobs. And what I usually do is I do a little indentation here in the middle. This is where my fire is going to go. Then I will rest one larger piece on top. And then we let this come up to temperature, and then we're going to put the meat on, as well as obviously the smoke wood. I haven't really decided yet what I'm going to smoke with, but you'll see that after we've taken out the pork necks from the fridge. Alright, so what I'll do first is I'm going to light the charcoal. Alright, there's our little flame, and I'm going to put this across and let it come up to temperature. Alright everybody, roughly 18 hours later we're taking out the pulled porks, and as you can see it has drawn a lot of moisture, so that means you know, some of the brine has obviously seeped out, but that is actually not bad because that means that now all the fibers have sufficient moisture in them and the rub has really set, and now do they look phenomenal. Alright, we're going to unpack the second one as well.
Whoa, that is super gross.
And then we're going to put them on the barbecue, which is currently preheating. Alright guys, the barbecue is up to temperature. I'm going to remove the inside quickly. As you can tell, I've put in a drip pan, which we're going to add some water to in a second. And I've decided to use applewood chunks. I think they give a nice, good flavor to our pork. So just gonna put them in so that we get a nice and long smoke. I'm gonna add the divide and conquer system, and I have to really say I love the divide and conquer system. And I've boiled some water, which we're gonna add to the pan, both because I don't want to mess up the pan as much, but also you want some moisture inside and obviously cooked so that you don't lose too much temperature in the kamado. Okay, we're gonna close this for a second, let it come back up to temp, and then we're going to add our pork necks. For the temperature control, both in the pork necks as well as the kamado itself, besides the big one here on top, I'm going to use my trusted Maverick thermometers. One is a the Maverick ET733, and the other one is the 732, because I love to control it via Bluetooth on my cell phone as well. Alright, now we're going to put them on, and it's already starting to smoke, which is exactly what we want to see. I'm going to put one here and the other one there, fit nicely, and then we're just going to add the thermometer probes roughly in the center, and obviously we want 90 degrees Celsius, and close the lid and the kamado can do its work. Alright guys, after about 6.5 hours we're looking pretty at 112 in the kamado and about 68 and 67 in the meat. Now what I love about this Maverick is that with a quick press of a button you can easily swap to Fahrenheit, so we're sitting at 134, exactly where we want to be. Most importantly, do not get frustrated if the temperature doesn't rise as quickly as you think, or it might be stagnant for a while. The meat will hit plateaus once in a while. Sometimes even the temperature will go down, but really, as I said, don't worry about it. Do not increase the temperature, do not do anything with your barbecue as long as it's running at the desired temperature, and you will be fine. The meat will just take its time. And the way I relax best is with a cold one in my hand, and this one is a Handcraft & Company Finest Brewing Backbone Splitter. Oh yeah! Now one of the things that I also like to do every once in a while, every couple of hours, I like to give it a little spritz on the outside, you know, to make sure that the bark stays nice and moist, because I do not like to use a Texas crutch and wrap it. I prefer if they just stay the way they are until the end of the cook. Now you want to work quickly, because obviously you're going to lose all that heat. And there you go. Pretty much on the dot, 24 hours later, we are finally done. And remember what I told you about waiting time and having patience? Well, it took them 18 hours to do. They've rested now for about 3.5 to 4 hours. They're still nice and warm, and what I usually do is once I take them off the barbecue, I wrap them in either aluminum foil or butcher's paper. I prefer butcher's paper, but I didn't have any for this cook. And then they go straight into the oven and they just sit there, and basically what it does is it rejuices itself. And now we're going to pull. Now, pulling. There are different methods. You can use a fork, you can use one of those fancy ones, you know, like a bear claw. Personally, I like to use my hands. However, when you do use your hands, because this is still warm or hot, have a little glove underneath your kitchen gloves, you know, like a cotton glove or anything like that, because it really insulates your hands. All right, so now I'm going to take them out and see what's happening. The great bark. Lost very little moisture, which is fantastic. And wrap the second one. Looks equally great. Both of them came to a temperature of 90 degrees. Make sure that you get all the aluminum foil out. That's definitely something you don't want to eat. All right, and as I said, I like to pull it with my hands, so you just dig in. And guys, doesn't that look amazing? I mean, this is juicy. This is nice and warm. It has a phenomenal flavor. The whole house smells of pulled pork now. And what you basically do is you just tear it up into little small things. And then we'll give it a try. Now, obviously, as it is Corona time and we can't have big house parties and whatnot, this is obviously way too much to eat for us as a family or for me alone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to package them up into individual serving sizes, like 200 grams, and put them in those sous vide bags that you've seen in one of my other videos, and basically freeze them. And then you can do all sorts of crazy things with them. You know, you can do a pulled pork pizza, you can do pulled pork sandwiches, you can do a pulled pork burger, you can do anything you really like. And I mean, it stays nice and moist. And the great thing is, when you then take it out of the freezer, leave it in the bag, stick it in the microwave, and just heat them up in the bag so it stays within its own juices. All right, I'm going to now wrap this up, tear them up, and then we'll eat. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please leave me a thumbs up. A comment would be nice, and obviously hit that subscribe button. And then I say thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. This is Roettgen Braai Master.